Hi, I'm Pat, and I think one of the best things Blizzard added to Diablo 4 is the idea of aspect dungeons. Aspect dungeons allow you to get legendary powers without the problem of RNG. Just finish the dungeon and imprint it, and you've got a build going. That makes leveling a little bit easier because you always have a build option available to you. That is also going to be the focus of this series, aspect dungeon builds that will help you level. And also I found personally fun. Today is the Leapquake COTA Barbarian, which you can see on screen can get a little nutty. Past Pat is going to run you through the aspects and skills, and then he's going to throw it back to me to discuss how to play the build. Thanks, Editor Pat. Let's take a look at the first skill, the skill that made me start this build in the first place. Lucky hit, while Call of the Ancient is on your action bar, damaging enemies with Leap, Upheaval, or Whirlwind have a up to 40% or 50% of your max heteral chance to summon an Ancient to perform the same skill, which means extra value for whatever you're doing, whether it's jumping or using Upheaval. Whirlwind, I briefly touched on that build as I was leveling up. It's nice, especially if you find this, but unfortunately, the Dust Devil's aspect is not found in a dungeon. You can only find it and extract it from an item. That aspect, by the way, is the aspect of Ancestral Echoes, which you can find in the Ancient Reservoir in Hawazar. Just click on it, it'll give you a link, it'll give you like a pin to it, and you can just follow the map. With that in mind, now we will want to cast Leap and Upheaval and or Whirlwind as much as possible. We pick up damaging an enemy with Kick or Ground Stomp resets Leap's cooldown, which is nice. That is the appropriately named aspect of Perpetual Stomping, which can be found in the Charnel House in the Dry Steppes. The good news about this is, if you didn't know, using an aspect from the Codex of Power to imprint gives you the minimum value for it. Let's say this. That's the minimum value for the skill at my level, 143 Fortify after swapping weapons 6 times. This does not have a variable, which means it's always good, which means you don't need to depend on a drop and extraction to get maximum value out of this ability. So now we want value on both Upheaval and Leap. Fortunately for Leap, we get the old Leapquake ability, but in aspect form. Leap creates an earthquake that deals 741 up to 821 at my level physical damage over 4 seconds. While standing in earthquakes, you gain 13% to 5 to 15% increased damage reduction. That is the aspect of Bulkaphos, which can be found in Hawazar. A lot of this is in Hawazar. So now whenever you leap, you get a friend jumping in with you. Whenever you use your spender, you get a lot of damage coming out and possibly a friend casting the same spell. And now you get damn red. So now I'm thinking, we have the combo. Now we have to optimize it. Now we need to look for 2 things, damage and survivability. Fortunately, the game is kind enough to give us visibility. You gain X increased armor for 4 seconds whenever you deal any form of damage, stacking up to 75%. I have a really poor roll. Yeah, it's the aspect of disobedience. Also the damn Kegistan. That's really good. Here's the thing. This counts bleed. This counts thorns. So you just need a splash of Ivor ability, and now you're just getting armor for existing, doing what you need to do in Diablo. But I'm very terrified of CC. So you see, we fixed that with Iron Skin granting us unstoppable and even more damage reduction. Aspect of the Iron Warrior, which by the way allows you to break out of CC. So now that's our defense. Now I'm looking for some offense. Fortunately, that's also a great option for us. Overpower is not a great mechanic normally. It only has a 3%, I think, chance to proc, and it adds your life and fortify amount to the damage. There is currently no real way to increase the percentage of overpower proccing. While there are ways of guaranteeing it, usually there's a bunch of hoops. Here's one of those hoops and one of the more consistent ways I've used it. After swapping weapons 10 times, your next attack will overpower and deal 30 to 50% increased overpower damage. That's the Earth Striker's aspect, also in Hawazar, Magan's works. You know the drill, click it and you can find it. Luckily, I just found a drop of it, which also synergizes nicely with what we're doing with our skills. We've got Leap, assigned to our bludgeoning weapon, or two-handed bludgeoning weapon. We've got Bash set to dual wield so that it hits faster so that we can stun things and gain more fortify. And we have our Upheaval set to our two-handed slashing weapon. So you just keep swinging. Eventually, it'll get there. Now, if you were a better player than me, you would time that properly. You would find a way to like get it to stick to Upheaval. What I've discovered is while the base damage of the skill you're using does affect overpower near as in configure, it doesn't really, it's not worth it for me personally to try to do the math on it. To like be that clever. But if you really want to optimize, that's an option for you. That's a nice little mini game you can play. And hey, while we're swapping weapons, may as well make us tougher while we do that. So after swapping weapons 6 times, I can gain Fortify some more, which is the aspect of tempering blows. Oh, Fractured Peaks. Wow, that one's near. So now we have a ton of options. We got damage up the wazoo thanks to Overpower. We got a lot of ways. Every time we click a button, a lot of good things happen. And we have Call of the Ancients, which has one of the shortest cooldowns in the game. I believe the base is 50 seconds to call for the Ancients to aid you in battle for 6 seconds. That is not a short time. You can wipe a screen with this if you're attacking with them. Now, there are other options, of course, such as the aspect that lets you gain armor on bleed. But this is the one that I've been using because, one, these are the ones I found. Two, these are the ones that speak to me and feel like they work the best. There are a few aspects you can't find in dungeons that will really help this build out a lot, such as Ground Stomp creating an earthquake. So you get 2 earthquakes now, which I believe counts for the Leapquake and its own earthquake. So now you get increased damage while in an earthquake and increased defense while in an earthquake. So that's the bones of it. You can add more stuff to it, of course. There's a lot. There's a lot of ways to play this, such as you can play this with Whirlwind instead. Whirlwind leaves behind Dust Devils that deal 229 to surrounding enemies. But the thing with that is, this is not an aspect you can find in a dungeon. So I find it hard to recommend things that you have to randomly find and hope it works out for you. I like the idea that while we cannot find the most powerful things in a dungeon, we can build a working high-level build. And this is what this is. I ran the capstone with this at level 48, and I face tanked that thing. Now, I mean, I had to be smart, get out of bad circles and stuff, but I did it and it worked out. Skills that pay the bills. I'm not going to get into every little skill and passive because that feels wasteful. You're going to need to adjust certain parts of the build to fit you. What you found, what items you have. So for me, I'm currently running just 1 rank of Bash, because I don't really need it to do damage. It's here to buy time for a very big overpower. It does fairly well without leveling it up. I also upgraded it, of course, to get Enhanced Bash, which gives us more Fortify. And Battle Bash, which gives us additional Fury. I will explain the additional Fury later. We have Upheaval. The Fury cost looks high because of our Capstone ability. I maxed it out and set Enhanced Upheaval to give it a chance to stun. And Furious Upheaval, which increases its damage even further while we're hitting things with other skills. Ground Stomp is just great CC. I do not leave home without vesting. It stuns everyone for 4 seconds. And it gives you Fury, which we're a little starved for if you're not careful. Iron Skin, our best defensive ability, I think. Steal Yourself, gaining a barrier that absorbs 75% of your missing life for 5 seconds. It also gives you heal if you get Tactical Iron Skin. Leap, of course. My guy deals a lot of damage for what it is because it's free. And if it doesn't hit anybody, the cooldown's reduced for 4 seconds. I, of course, picked Power Leap to give us 40 Fury whenever we hit somebody with it. I went with Call of the Ancients because it is mandatory for one of our aspects and fully upgraded it. I also went into the Tempered Fury area. The extra Fury does not matter, but the heal on Fury Spent as well as Furious Impulse, each time swap weapons gain 6 Fury, is very much worth it because I picked Unbridled Rage as our key passive. Core skills deal 135% increased damage, but cost 100% more Fury. Now that might seem like it makes you a bit slow and bursty, and it does. But with our combo of Leap into Stomp into Bash into Leap, you're pretty much set. You're gonna rarely run out of Fury, and if you are running out of Fury, you can run around a little bit, fight, poke with your Bash, set up a stun, and then cycle over again because the cooldowns are fairly short. Alternatively, I did go with Walking Arsenal for a little bit, but I feel like this is funnier and I like seeing bigger numbers. For my chosen weapon technique, I went with one-handed mace expertise because I'm currently using a two-handed sword. I'll get to that in a bit. Just for the increased damage to stunned enemies so that we can go to town on bosses, help with our single target damage. This is the most important one. Two-handed sword expertise. With a slicing arsenal, when using a two-handed sword, 20% of direct damage you deal is inflicted as bleeding damage over 5 seconds. It's a nice bonus. The bleed is nice. You do get some great numbers on it. However, it's really here to proc our defensive ability. The one in one of our aspects. The disobedient aspect. This one, any form of damage. It also is a little bit more damage, so that's fine. The reason I did not go for the bleed passive to make us even more aggressive and to give us some wiggle room in terms of fury generation is that I don't have great crit strike chance. There are ways of adding it. It's not quite there yet. It combos better, but that is not something we're at yet. Or at least I'm not at yet. So there it is. That's the build. I also don't know why I sound so weird. I'm going to fix my settings next time. For now, let's take a look at how you play it. Generally, the way I play it is to pop Call of the Ancients And depending on Fury on hand, I might pop an Upheaval or start with a Leap, and then start whacking away at someone with Bash until we can throw an Upheaval. Feeling spicy, I can Leap, then Ground Stomp immediately, and the damage we've taken will give us enough Fury to priority pop out an Upheaval. I do watch my cooldowns. If the cooldown for Leap and Ground Stomp are close enough, I would probably wait for the Leap to come off cooldown so I can Leap and then Ground Stomp to reset the Leap to use as an escape or as an additional Fury generator. But in Nightmare 3, you can pretty much just go around pressing buttons and hoping something good works out, dodging as appropriate. Iron Skin, depending on what I'm fighting, is usually used to break out a CC or in an emergency life situation. So here we are, that's the build. I hope you enjoyed it. And hey, if you have fun with it, let me know in the comments below. Also, let me know if you want more information or less information. I'm trying to find that sweet spot where the video isn't too long. Thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed it. If you did, do all those nice things. Like, comment, subscribe, ring that bell. Also, I'm streaming on Twitch. Twitch.tv/Patinator TV. You do all those things and follow me on Twitch, that will help me out a lot. Thanks for watching. I'm Patinator and I will see you later.